site. So I think that I think I see a screen here.
You should see the Inventory Pro Online logo.
I do. I do.
Cool. So, um, I'm under the impression that you're basically looking to control your raw materials and finished goods, and you do
Yeah.
a
Now,
fair amount of assemblies.
exactly. What I guess, like I said, my company is very new to this whole barcoding for inventory. Over the past few years, we took a lot of bad inventory hits, and no one's really been held accountable for it. So, president of the company asked me to start looking into barcoding systems. The first one I looked at was it MySys, which is the
Right.
one that Stage 50 actually, I guess that's their product, and that would have like reformed our entire accounting system, which we don't want that. We want something that's going to help us maintain inventory accuracy, especially I guess as far as inbound coming in, like receiving materials, and even maybe somehow keeping up with materials like for our ordering processes. Now, we're talking to some of my managers, and as we move forward, I might have to get my managers more involved as far as answering questions for them.
Okay.
But one concern was as far as, let's say, a sales order goes. Very frequently, we run out of certain materials, so we got to use a different material to make a certain product. So what happens is, if you do our paper trail, you can easily see how we use a different product. What we're worried about is if these barcoding systems, if we were to tag it to our sales order, would we be able to know or be able to, know, hey, we're scanning this, even though we didn't use that. Either way, at the end of the month, someone has to go in and manually adjust out one part number for another because, if we're switching part numbers for a product. And so that was one concern.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, but we should be able to, when you create a work order and put a bill of materials on it, we should be able to edit the bill of materials, right? Just one time.
Yeah, the bill of materials allows for critical and non-critical parts, and you can actually, I believe, swap out the non-critical parts as needed.
Okay. Here's another thing about bill of materials that I just found out. We use Access, and we use almost 3 different Access programs to create our bill of materials, and then we go into Sage 50 and put it in there. So one thing my manager had another concern about is the one reason why we didn't want to move forward with the Sage 50 sponsored program is because it would make it to where we have to redo all of our bill of materials, redo all of our WIP, and it would cause a lot of work. For now, we're just, like you said, interested in keeping raw materials and maybe even some WIP accounted for and start from there. And then once we get comfortable, maybe we can add on more. And I don't know if this program will allow you to add on more modules or something as we get comfortable and learn this system.
Well, the program comes with all the modules. You don't have to use them until you need them, though. So.
Okay. That's good.
But what I did was I brought up. We really started with a Microsoft Access program ourselves.
Okay.
Which we're kind of getting away from, but so we know Microsoft Access, and initially our database was a Microsoft Access database, and it's since been. We really don't sell Microsoft Access databases anymore. It's all SQL Server. SQL Server based, but it's not a huge difference between the two.
Okay.
So, in terms of dealing with your Access applications, we should be able to, if we need to, create live hooks between the two.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Like, unfortunately, I don't know Access that well.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where what I'm doing is I'm trying to educate myself with these barcoding systems.
Right.
And then, like I said, your system is one I'm very interested in because it says that you can integrate with the Sage 50, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is what we use. That's why we're very interested in yours. At least I was. And so that's why I was hoping you could show me more because when I was on your website, there was a lot going on, and being someone who's very unfamiliar with all these processes right now,
Right.
I'd like that you're providing these, the seminar, at least to show me how all this works and maybe answer some of my
Sure.
questions.
Sure. So I logged in, and the default screen is actually changeable by user. Every user can have their own login screen. So if
Okay.
somebody's working in purchase orders, we can make that the default screen. But in general, we make this item master list the default screen. You can
Okay.
have you can have as many users as you need in the system. You can have customers and suppliers be users. There's all sorts of possibilities here. It's all cloud-based, and you can host it or we can host it. The users get put into groups, and then each group has permissions. So
Okay.
it's kind of like Windows security, where it doesn't really matter. In this system, we have admin, employee, customer, and supplier. So an admin can do everything, an employee can do only certain functions. A customer
Okay.
can really only look at their orders or place an order.
Okay.
And a supplier would be able to look at their raw materials. And sometimes you can do vendor managed inventories where you don't have to do anything. You give them like a blanket PO, and they'll monitor their inventory and send you inventory as you need it. Now, that may be like phase 4 for you guys, but the system's capable of doing it.
Okay.
So the other thing the system does, I don't know if this is going to apply to you or not, but you can have multiple warehouses. And
Okay. Yeah, we only have one warehouse.
Right. So you can have, say you ended up having distribution centers in, the Midwest and the West or something like that. You can do that in here.
Okay, good. Down the road we might do that, so that's good to know.
So let's jump back to just basic. Well, before I get there, let me just cover this one other thing. This may be important for. We do have import-export utilities, and basically these are Excel spreadsheets where the system outputs Excel spreadsheets and inputs Excel spreadsheets. So I'm just going to export the current item master list. Okay. And I'm not sure if you can see that down at the, oops.
Yep, I can see it.
I have 2 monitors going here, so hold on, I gotta drag this over.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So it created this Excel spreadsheet, which is basically a list of all the items that are in the system.
Okay, good.
There's a whole bunch of attributes. AF, what's that, like 10 letters in, so there's 37, 38 attributes here. I think we have about 80 attributes per item in the database, so there's more that could be outputted, but this is a pretty good sample.
This is good, yeah, this is, I like how it shows what's in stock and everything like that, too. So.
Right, so, if you have your data in Access now, it's essentially in a table that somewhat looks like this. So
yeah,
we could export your data in an Excel spreadsheet and then get it into this column format, and then we can just re-import it into Inventory Pro.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. In case you had to do something like that, that's good.
Right.
Okay.
So if you're going to import, you just come here, you click Choose File, and you just go to the file that you want to import, and then click Load Inventory, and boom.
Okay.
So we have bill of materials. Purchase order isn't activated here. Direct receipts, suppliers, direct issues, all the basic functionality is here. Okay, so let's jump back to the item master list. This is kind of what we consider like the heart of or at least I consider the heart of the system. It's where all your items are defined. And if you click on the pencil, it'll let you edit the attributes.
Okay.
There's so many here that they're kind of paged. I don't know if you can see, but this is bold. And if I click here, it brings up the attributes in that group.
Ah, okay, okay.
Okay. So there's global reorder points that you can have. And then there's all these other like categories and center codes intended to be a cost center. But if you wanted to use that field for something else, there's a customize button down here, and administrators can come in and let's see what I was talking about, the center code. You know, if we wanted to call it, I don't know, some other code. Okay. I save, and then I view the screen. See how the field label changed here?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can, there's some levels of customization that can be done to the software by an administrator.
Okay.
And that goes for the reports as well. We don't have like crystal reports, but we do have report definitions. Let's see. Inventory evaluation. I believe if we click on settings, so this is a report, and then all reports you can export to Excel.
Okay.
Okay. Or you can print them out. So we think a lot of flexibility in that, you know, if you need to get your data out in Excel and either import it into another Access system or manipulate it, you know.
That's good. I like that we could export to Excel. We do that a lot in Sage 50 as it is, so I'm glad that we can still do that with your program.
Right. So how long have you been using Sage or Peachtree and Sage 50? A long time?
Oh, since the Department of Imaging Technology bought out the company that was here back in 2002. So I want to say since 2002, we've been using some form of Peachtree.
Okay. Okay.
Now, we do use the Peachtree manufacturing, I believe. Oh, Sage 50 manufacturing.
Yeah, I don't think that matters to us. I don't think that matters to us. Okay.
I think they're all the same as far as the same core. You know, they
Yeah.
just have different features turned on or off with the different versions.
Yeah, I think so. What I was understanding too. It's just the same thing, just more features. That's what I was told.
Right. So if you wanted to print just a generic item ID label, you can just click right on that label column. And here, let me blow this up a little bit.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Okay. We also have warehouse location labels. So if you go to locations, and you know, you can have as many locations in your warehouse as you need. And if you want to print a label again, you just print the label. And you know, we can set this up if you have metal racking, then it'll print out on a magnetic barcode.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah.
So you can move them
around.
Yeah,
we use the metal racking, and I know the thing is if we do get a barcode system, we're going to reorganize our entire inventory. So that's good. We can move these things around just in case we need to. So that's good.
Right. The other thing with the I mean, it's a little bit more expensive to print on magnetic stock, but it doesn't make a mess, and they're easy to move.
Oh yeah, sure.
And all these lists are user manageable. So if you need to add a new location to your warehouse, you know, you can just come in here and add the location.
Okay.
I don't remember which one. I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll just add it to Acme Manufacturing. We'll go back to the list. So here's that new location we just made.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so and I think, you know, once you get the hang of navigation, all the screens are pretty similar.
Okay.
So let's go back to inventory one more time. There's, you can set the items, well, this doesn't really apply to you, but you can set the items up so that they're only in certain warehouses. If you only have one warehouse, then it doesn't really matter. But we have this functionality so that if you have, you know, products that are isolated to warehouses, it shrinks down your list. So if you have thousands of parts in different warehouses, you know, you're dealing with just what's there, and it makes lists and mistake. It reduces mistakes and shrinks the list size.
Mhm.
I guess we don't have any categories set for any of these items, but the other thing you can do is you can store pictures of your items. Okay.
Okay.
And you
Cool.
can actually print a catalog. Let's see if I get the right. Oh, I don't want the barcode catalog. I want the inventory catalog. This is kind of like checking out at a grocery store. You can
Okay, cool.
you can walk around with one of these on your fork truck or your clipboard. And if something doesn't have a barcode on it, you can flip through here and scan the barcode. And you can just get a visual representation that the item you're looking for matches, what you're about to pick. Okay. I'm going to jump to talking about barcoding again. We interface, or you can use generic hardware with Inventory Pro. And by generic, I mean like iPhones and iPods and Galaxy Notes and tabs. And
Okay.
you can use Bluetooth scanners that, are paired with the device.
Okay.
We also support keyboard wedge scanners. Do you have any scanners now?
No, we don't. Like I said, we don't have any type of
Right,
system.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing to keep in mind with this is you don't have to buy like all one scanner. If you probably have everybody has a smartphone in their pocket, and those
Yeah.
will work.
Okay.
And these are keyboard wedge scanners that will work either Bluetooth or with a USB cable. And this one over here is actually an RF device, so it works with a proprietary RF.
Oh.
But these are simple, and they'll work with, like a laptop or a tablet or a MacBook and then we also have industrial scanners you can use if you want something that's tougher and you have a real industrial environment where you want your users to be using something like this. We support these as well. And then in terms of printers, you probably you recognize all these printers because you're creating labels for them.
Yeah, we do the thermal transfer ribbons here, so we got plenty of these Zebra printers.
Right. So that's normally, we use Epson or Zebra, Datamax, whatever, for printing the barcode labels. Okay. Just generic. As long as it has a Windows driver, we can use it. We basically print PDFs to the device.
Okay.
All right. So barcoding is pretty simple and straightforward. The other thing we have that we run on those devices is a product called Inventory Pro Mobile. So I'm going to shrink my screen down a little bit so it looks more like a cell phone or a tablet. And this is what the interface would look like on your tablet or your cell phone. Okay. So the functionality is a little bit more streamlined and works better on cell phones and tablets. All right.
Oh, cool.
All right.
That's kind of nice.
Just to give a cursory overview here, we do have purchase orders, and
Okay.
with respect to inventory, it's a lot nicer if Inventory Pro knows about your purchase orders. So even if normally you're creating your purchase orders in Sage now, and we can pass them, I believe, from Sage to Inventory Pro. Our normal interface, you create them in Inventory Pro, and we pass it back to Sage.
Mhm.
And the reason for that is so that Inventory Pro knows what's on order. Because in the item master list, each item will have reorder points, although this one doesn't really have any. You can say, reorder at 10, order in quantities of 3, and fill to, 20. Okay. And then there's a utility that'll go out and look at your inventory and look at all the reorder points and economic order quantities and fill tos and suggest what you need to purchase in order to keep your levels up to date. Okay.
Okay.
And that can be
Restock-
done either through restocking POs or restocking transits from other warehouses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Transits wouldn't apply here, but restocking POs. Okay, so we went through, or the system went through and said, you know,
You have an order, I believe, in the system for like 2,000 of each of those or something.
yeah, that's why it's showing a negative available quantity because you know, there's basically nothing on hand compared to the 2,000 on order.
Yeah.
And so it'll actually create the purchase order for you.
Okay.
And then what'll happen is when the items come in, you can receive against the purchase order. So you would just click on the purchase order. And then if you go to the line items thing, there's a receive function here, or there's a receive button. And it'll take you to, you know, the receiving person in your warehouse would be able to receive directly against this purchase order.
Okay.
Okay? And then when you receive against the purchase order and you close out the purchase order, the transaction goes back to Sage as a payable to the vendor or to your supplier. Okay? So we keep the two in sync, but it's really important that Inventory Pro knows what's on order so that the next time somebody runs one of these reorder utilities, it takes into account what's on order.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go back to the item master list, you'll see these columns over here on the right, in stock, on order, on hold.
Mm-hmm.
So the on order is what's on a PO. What's on hold is like a quality defect. So if for some reason, you know, it's scratched or dented or water damage or needs to be checked by a quality control person, you can put the inventory on hold so it doesn't accidentally get used.
Okay.
Okay. And then committed is what's on a work order or what's on a sales order. So if you take, we call them shipping orders in here, but when you create a shipping order, let's just create a new order. I'm just going to put, I don't know, some random number on order here. So if we look at 1021, back on the item master list now for this shipping order, I saved that, right? What did I do? Zach, I'm having a brain spasm.
What are you looking for?
Sorry. I was looking for, did I not save that order? Okay, I've got 10021, 6 ordered on this shipping order.
Is it set up as a quote or?
I'm sorry, did I what?
I know we have that new quote option that we put in the other week.
Oh,
If you go to the header, is it set up as a quote? No, it's not.
so what's supposed to happen, Adam, is if I come back here and I look at this item ID, the very first one here,
Mm-hmm.
there should be a 6 over here.
Okay. From that sales order you put in.
Right, from that sales order, it should create a committed of 6. I don't know.
It could also be the system option if you let me take control for a second, because we do
Yeah.
have a system option that controls that calculation.
There's hundreds of options here.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem. This is a public demo site, so sometimes some people play with the settings a little bit.
Yeah. People go in and change it all the time.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Okay.
Zach, why don't you drive? I've talked enough.
Okay. We went through purchase orders and shipping orders so far.
Yeah, actually,
one additional thing I can go over here is the reports. So on any of these screens, you can easily just click by any of the columns here to sort by that column. So anything that has text in it here, you can just easily click and start filtering by that number. Or
Okay.
text column A to Z.
You know, the one thing I didn't go over, though, Zach, was bill of materials and assemblies. You might want to do that quick.
Okay. Change over to Acme Manufacturing. Yep. Okay, so in our system, you can define any part number as being an assembly of other parts. So here we have a iPod part number, which has a few different, buttons and casing and hard drive parts associated with it. And under the assemblies and serializing section, you just have to mark it as a make, and that marks it as being a piece of stock that is manufactured. Then if we jump over to bill of materials, we can define a bill of materials for that part. So
Okay.
that's the list. And here you can select, which subparts, go into this assembly and whether or not they're critical and required. So here you can see everything's marked as critical because we don't have any substitutes for any of these parts. If there were substitutions in place, you would just mark them as not critical. And then when you go to process the order, you would just fill out the number of units consumed for, whichever part you're consuming to make that. We also have labor hour calculations in here as well as yield. So for example, if your expected yield is only 90% efficiency or something like that, you can make some adjustments there.
Okay.
And you can also specify how many units. So if you're using, 10 screws or, 20 washers or something like that, you can lay that out here as well.
Adam, something that we did for another customer that it's not in our demo here is we did a time tracking system where they actually have employees logging in and tracking their production against work orders. I don't know if that's of value to you or not.
Probably not at the moment. We're a small company. There's maybe 40 of us here. And so the problem that we have is that we wear a lot of hats. I'm the account executive, but I'm also the office manager, but I'm also the supervisor, and I'm also the scheduler. So it's as far as that goes, that might not be something that we could do. I don't know if we'd be doing right now, but maybe down the road.
Okay.
One thing that I think is important about manufacturing business is efficiency. And to be honest, I'm kind of a newer manager here, and the other managers are old. I'm talking older, and so they don't see the things that I see. So as I move forward, yes, I think I would be good. But for right now, I really don't have the authority to be like, okay, let's push this module out to our employees, to keep them efficient. But I guess my question would be, down the road, would we be able to do something like that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So I like the fact that, we could, I guess, with you guys, you can, if you want to add something or use another part of it, I guess you guys can kind of teach us, at least guide us on how to do it.
Right. I think that's right where I interrupted Zach. So go for it, Zach.
I lost my train of thought there. What am I doing?
The critical parts and replacing them with.
Oh yeah. So essentially, critical parts, you can just toggle them on and off, and you can set as many units as you'd like for each part here, and then this can be used to pre-fill a work order in the system. So if I jump over work orders. So essentially, when you go to produce stock, you can create a work order, and you can import that assembly. You can see here we already have one here, and essentially just specify how many units you'd like to produce, and from here you can mark mark production as it goes along and track consumption. So if I'm consuming, a lot more of this part, I can mark that off as such. We can make there's a units column we can turn on or off here as well if you need to adjust that manually.
Okay.
But normally it's handled automatically by the system as far as ticking off as you, issue the stock off. Now you'll notice I don't have an issue stock button here. That's because the work order is still in the requested state. It has to be moved to the open or started state in order to actually process that. Okay, and now you can click assemble and tell it the number of units. Just put in a random number there. And then that just takes you over to the standard stock consumption screen. So once you consume the stock here, mark off your units or whatever, then it will add the created stock into inventory. So I'll just click finish issue. And you'll notice here this gave us an error. So we don't actually have enough of that particular part in order to continue production. So this is where it would come into, for you guys, if you had critical or non-critical parts, you could change this around. I believe all these parts are critical, so I can't actually make any alterations here. But, if we check these parts, we could run through.
Push it back. Okay.
And then, just to dovetail on what Zach's doing, we have an audit trail, and it'll show you exactly what got consumed and used on everything. Every receive, issue, and move gets logged in the audit trail.
And this will show you exactly, if you're using serial numbers, the exact serial number, item number, where things went, where they went to, things like that.
Do you do lot number tracking with your ribbons? Do you keep track of the inks and stuff that went into each one?
Yeah, that's one thing that we have a lot of assemblies for as far as ink making, because we have to make the ink, and that's one assembly. Then we have the assembly to put the ink on a jumbo roll, like a big wide roll of film.
Right.
And then we have another assembly when we put it on a slitter or a converter to narrow it down to the sizes our customer wants. So for one certain product, like we make typewriter ribbons here still. Now that's the ink we make is for typewriter ribbons and Micker for checks. Is we have 3 assemblies just for that one process. Obviously, with that one jumbo roll, you could have 50 different items that could pull from that one item. Right. So that's the one thing that to be honest, I really would like something like your system to incorporate our sales orders and our purchase orders. I just think my managers don't want to do the work to get a project like this off the ground, because it would take a lot of coordination and making sure that we have our assemblies in right, our bill of materials are in right, because as of right now, they're not. And so what happens, we do a lot of what you call inventory adjustments, where we assemble out of this and build into that. And because our bombs aren't done correctly. And like I said, I think this system, something like this, will help make people responsible to go in and make sure it's accurate. Because to be honest, our inventory is extremely inaccurate. It's so inaccurate that in order for my purchaser to order anything, she has to get up out of her chair, walk to the floor, and physically put her hands on it.
Yeah, she manually counts everything. Right.
Pretty much. We got almost. For instance, even the other day, Sage 50 said we had 2,000 cores. We had 0. And I know where the problem is. It's because our current people over inventory are not being held accountable. They're very comfortable in their positions, which is why, honestly, they're both against me doing this, but the president already gave me go ahead and try to do this. So I just want to make sure that it sounds like your system does a good job of incorporating the bill of materials and assemblies, pulling the right stuff out, tracking it, and seeing all that. It's almost like an extension of Sage 50, because even some of the reports you run look very similar to the reports that I make in Sage 50.
Right.
Like I said, my main goal, at least for my starting main goal, is to get raw material accuracy. And then moving forward, we can start dealing with assemblies. But with your system, we would need to do both the purchase orders and sales orders in order to get this inventory accurate. And to be honest, I feel like that's the only way we'll get inventory accurate, is to have a system like this to let us follow it. And in Peachtree right now, it's just, I'm not Peachtree, the Sage 50, it's almost a little too difficult for us to track it. You know, we don't have these nice reports and functions that you have here. So I guess like, so my one question my manager is asking me, and like I said, this is something that I don't know if it would work, is let's say we don't want to use the sales orders. You know, the sales orders function here. I just don't see, like, well, how would we be able to, that would kind of compromise the accuracy of your program, correct? If we don't incorporate the sales orders.
It makes using the reorder points really hard.
Yeah, it makes that almost impossible to do. Okay.
But
well,
which is
the
good.
thing is, I mean, let me run through it a little bit, actually, because one thing you could do is, you could, as far as raw materials go, implement like a weekly cycle count. And that would at least keep your stock adjustments, you know, your stock levels correct, as far as, you know, you can easily see what's been consumed or not based on your last cycle count. The main thing is you have to consume the stock in our system in some manner in order for the reports to run accurately, whether that's through shipping orders, whether that's through, you know, just doing weekly cycle counts to see what's, you know, gone and what's, you know, no longer in the warehouse, or, you know, actually running the full shipping orders, or, you know, any of the other methods we have in the system to adjust stock. So that's the main thing. You have to be removing it from inventory. You have to be, you know, keeping track in some manner of what's gone. And if you do that, you can use the reorder points and all that. It's just the main thing is you have to then, you know, realize even though we do interface with Sage 50, we primarily only interface with Sage 50 as far as, you know, the purchasing and shipping goes. Okay. As far as aside from that, you'll have to run the reports in our system and do like a manual adjustment on a monthly basis to make sure your balances are correct. You know, if you're not using the shipping order. So that's just one thing to keep in mind.
We could flip the interface around so that when somebody creates a sales order or a purchase order in Sage 50, it replicates from Sage to Inventory Pro. It's backwards from our normal process, but we could flip it.
That could be interesting, but to be honest, I would like to incorporate the shipping orders in the purchase orders. It just makes sense, you know. And it's just going to be a matter, to be honest. I think it's just going to be a matter of these managers going in and fixing some of their mistakes. Like I said, our issue right now with inventory is that the people held accountable over it, they're just, I don't think they're really properly trained to do it. How
do you take your sales orders today? By email?
Oh, the sales orders, you know, we get like a purchase order from a customer. You put in the sales order, and then with the sales order, we print off our packing list, and we print off like an order confirmation form. Well, we pretty much just send them a copy of a sales order. And then what happens is it goes through the normal process where, you know, we take it to the floor, they create it. We have what we still got the transfer sheets, so they'll write what they created on the transfer sheet, and then we ship it. The next day, my inventory coordinator will take the worksheets and put it into Sage 50. So the thing is, in theory, my company is always 24 hours behind actual count, if that makes sense, because the woman that does it, until she puts in the entries, Sage 50 won't show it coming out of the system. And that's what causes the problem, is that we don't have anything close to
what if you gave
live numbers.
What if you gave your customers the ability to place an order online?
That would be fantastic, which is what I wrote down on here, was that customers could put orders with your system, and that could be a very positive thing for at least one of my managers, because my company is split into two different groups. We got what we call the impact ribbon group, which would be the typewriters and micro ribbons, old technology. The other side of the group is the TTR. So they're the ones that does all the thermal transfer ribbons and barcode and all that good stuff. They work, I hate it, but they're pretty much two separate things. And I'm in the middle where I know both very well. And I try to help them intertwine the two as far as making sure that we got the manpower and just the materials and just the general flow of things.
Well, I came to this quick order screen because you can make this a customer-facing screen where the customer goes, to your website and they log in, and this is the screen they get, and they can say, I want to order. Oh, hold on, I got to pick a customer here, but they can say, I want to order 3 of these and 2 of these, or 3 of these and 2 of these.
And the thing, I can see this being very good for a few of my customers, actually. I can see this working out very well because we have what you call stock items. So if they want to order a stock item, go to the website, put it in, and to be honest, there's a lot of young people put it in the order, so they probably prefer to go to the website than to call us or even email us.
Right. So with those couple of clicks, I just created a sales order for that customer.
And so how did we get notified that someone put in an order?
We can set up notifications through email, and I think, is there also like a pop-up notification, Zach? I can't remember. Or is it just email? I think I lost that. But yeah, we can definitely do it through email. I think there's also pop-ups that we can have a pop-up window.
Yeah,
so
the email will be good because we have like a generic email account where customers are supposed to put in the order. So if it just hits that email, then that'd be good, and it saves some time. Now, it would definitely save some time. I guess here's the other thing though is we do a lot of blind shipments. So that might be something where I don't know if this will work because how would they tell us who to ship to? And I don't know if your program can do that.
Oh, sure. On the if we go back to the quick order, there's a build to and a ship to.
Oh, okay.
You pick your warehouse and you pick your customer, and then we can put ship to. I'm not quite sure why we don't have a build to and a ship to here. But yeah, sure, we can do blind shipment stuff.
Okay, that'd be good because I will admit that probably 80% of our orders are blind.
Yeah, sure.
We're like a private company. We make everyone's product and put the label on.
Relabel them. Right. White label them. Sure. Yeah, that'll work.
Yep. Okay.
All right. What do you think? I recorded this, and I'll convert the recording and stick it up on YouTube so you can rewatch it.
Oh, that'd be great.
And then, I don't know how you want to, do next steps. I know you're going to do a lot of research and look at other companies and blah blah blah.
Yeah, honestly, there's only two companies that I talk to that integrate with Peachtree. That doesn't, like I said, what I like about your system is it doesn't completely revamp Sage 50, because the way that it was working, the one that I think MySys. It just looked like we would have to redo every little tiny thing. We did every single process, which we don't want to do that. We want something that's going to work alongside Sage 50, which just looks like that's what your program does. So from my first look, your program has a lot more to offer than the other one. The other one I looked at was very, 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 very simple. Very simple. Not much reporting, not much of anything, just kind of your basic helping you keep up with inventory. I like yours a lot better because of the reports, of the Excel functionality. You have a lot more going on with this, which I like. My only other option that I have to work with is to find an outside program to check, our live numbers versus what our accounting program says. Something like WASP. One of those little low-key ones that I could probably spend a couple $100 and and set it up myself. But to be honest, I don't want to do that. I want something that's going to integrate with Sage 50 because that's the true way we can grow as a company is to have something help us keep accuracy and be able to follow inventory better. So this looks really, really, I really like this. I like the fact that, I can just use my phone and walk down there. Now, of course, I probably want a manufacturer type of scanner for the warehouse because it does go through some rough conditions. I don't think my employees would want to use their phone to do this. To them, just be like, this is going to take up my memory. I don't want to do it. So that's which is fine, understandable. But I like it because I can pull up my phone because I'm out there all the time looking at inventory, and I'd rather look at my phone than to use some gun and everything else.
And if you have sales reps in the field, you can expose this to the internet, and they can see what you have in inventory without having to call back. They can just go to the website and say,
exactly,
we have these in stock.
Which would be nice to do, if our customers can go to our website and be like, do they have any of this in stock, and then they can see it and know, and this is a lot. You have a lot more functionality than the other program I looked at. I like yours a lot better than the other one. The other one was almost too simple. It was I felt like for the money I might as well just buy one of the WAS barcode scanners or something. So, but yours has a lot more functionality. So, but the thing is, though, you do have a very system that looks like we can edit. There's a lot going on. So, I guess my next question would be, if we move forward with you guys, would you have better, more training programs and stuff for us to look at and work with you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, usually what we do is we train a key operator, which would probably be you.
Yeah.
and you become our single point of contact.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But we can do training sessions with you, and then with a group of people if you want.
Yeah, that'd be good, especially with my vice presidents of operations, because they're going to be the ones that be doing a lot of this work, is making sure that the bill of materials are right, the WIP and all that good stuff. So they're going to have a lot of questions, and I want to make sure that I answer them properly. So there might be a time where I bring you guys back on and let you answer the questions that my VPs have. So, which would be a great help because, like I said, I'm still learning a lot with these type of systems. So it's definitely a big learning curve for me.
Yeah, sure.
So, but yeah, this looks like a really good program. That I really like it. I like the reporting aspect because none of us really know how to use the crystal reporting in Sage 50.
Right.
Only one of us does. So that's why when you stream these reports and go into Excel sheets, I like that because that's what everyone up here uses. You throw everything in Excel sheets and look at it. And so that's good. So I guess my next question would also be, as far as quotation, how much would this program cost, and what type of pricing and quotations you can provide for something like this?
Yeah, sure. We have a 3-user minimum. We sell by concurrent users. So if you wanted to host it yourself, it's $1,000 per concurrent user. So if you had 3 users, it'd be $3,000.
Okay.
Now they're concurrent users, so you could have 50 users. You said you had about 40 or 50 people you could have all of them defined in the system, and they could log in. We just keep track of how many are in at the same time.
Okay, so you can only have 3 users in at the same time.
Right. It's concurrent.
Okay, which that I don't see us using more than 3.
Right. You probably don't need more than that. So it'd be $3,000 for the 3 users. And
okay, what's that?
The Sage 50 interface is basically $1,500, and if you want this mobile program, that's another $1,000. Okay, so all in, you're about $5,500.
All right, that sounds a lot better than the 15,000 that Mice just wanted. So okay, great. That I like that. So the $1,000 a user.
Right, and then if you need to add another user, you can just, as you grow, you can just add another user.
Okay, good. That was going to be my next question. Is can we add on as we move forward? So that's good. Okay, okay.
Right. But you get all the functionality, all of this functionality you get. We don't sell it by the module. We sell it by concurrent users.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right, great, great. Thank you very much for taking some time to explain your system to me. I like it a lot. So, but my plan, at least the president of the company told me I need to make a decision by the 1st of June. So I'm hoping to make a decision the next couple of weeks because after you guys, I'm going to have to look at the red bar. So there's like a lot of different cheap bar coding systems that he wants me to look at as well. But to be honest, I'm not going to spend that much time on them because I'm interested in something like you're showing me. This makes sense to me versus using some outside program and comparing it. It doesn't make any sense to. Why that's like double work to me. You got to do work at stage 50, and you got to do the work for the outside program. Might as well get something that does it all in one. So, but yeah, this looks good. Thank you again, and I will definitely keep in touch.
And I'll as soon as I'm done uploading I'll end the meeting. Oh no, I can't end it because it'll cut off the phone. As soon as we're done, I'll convert this and upload it to YouTube, and I'll send you a link to it. So
Awesome, that's fantastic. I appreciate that. That would actually help a lot, so I can make sure I know what I'm talking about.
Cool. Thanks, Al.
All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you again. I really do appreciate it.
Yep, thanks.